Good afternoon. Welcome to the graduation ceremony to recognize the class of 2023. Before we start today's celebration, please can you take a moment to check your nearest fire exit in the unlikely event of an evacuation. In the case of an emergency, please follow any directions given by the UNIS team. Thank you.
We are proud to be your MCs for today's celebrations, and we hope that you will enjoy a wonderful mix of tradition, gravitas, and joyfulness on this formal occasion. My name is Namara O'Connell.
And my name is Rahul Gowda.
We are delighted to welcome you to this very special occasion, whether you are with us here today or watching from afar. And now, to start today's ceremony, let's take a few moments to proudly recognize every unique individual that makes up this year's wonderful graduating class. Please stand to welcome the class of 2023.
remain standing for the Vietnamese national anthem, Tiến Quân Ca, sung today by Trang Nguyen, Việt Linh Tô, Tú Ngô, and Mia Nguyen.
Quân Việt Nam đi chung lòng cứu quốc, bước chân dồn vang trên đường cập xa. Cờ in màu chiến thắng mang hồn nước, xuống ngoài xa trên khúc quân hành ca. Đường vinh quang xây xa quân thù, thắng gian lao cùng nhau tập chiến khu. Vì nhân dân chiến đấu không ngừng, tiến mau ra xa trường, tiến lên, cùng tiến lên, nước non Việt Nam ta vững bền.
Thank you, Trang and Viet Linh, Tu and Mia. Grade 12s, please remain standing. I now invite our audience to be seated. And now, Dr. Leopard will lead us in a Eunice tradition to recognize our longest standing students. Literally.
I am delighted to start today's celebrations by recognizing the outstanding cohort we have before us, or upstanding perhaps in this case. As we'll hear, the class of 2023 represents well our Eunice values of integrity, courage, diversity, responsibility, curiosity, and community. Today, you are here as one group, a community. And like at many international schools, some of you have spent more of your academic schooling here at Eunice than others. Let us now roll back time and see how the class has grown over the years, in reverse order. 2 of you joined us uniquely for your grade 12 senior year. You 2 may be seated now. 9 of you joined us in grade 11 uniquely for your last 2 years of high school. You 2 may be seated. If you joined us in grade 10, you may be seated now. Those of you who have been here for all of your high school career, but not before, may now be seated. If you joined us in grade 7 or 8, but not for the entirety of middle school, you too may now be seated. If you were here for all of middle school, but not before, you may take a seat. If you joined us here at Eunice in upper elementary in grades 4 or 5, you may now take a seat. If you have been with us since grade 1, you may be seated. If you've been with us since kindergarten, you too may now be seated. 3 of you have been with us since the early years, or what was then called Discovery, and you are our longest standing students. Would the parents of these 3 students please stand so they may be recognized and we can applaud these families.
Thank you, Dr. Leopard, for helping us recognize every dedicated member that makes up our school community. We are honored to be speaking on the behalf of all students today and would like to take this opportunity to extend our own thank yous to the graduates.
You have been great role models, generous helpers, and kindest friends. We have all looked up to and learned from you, whether that be in the classroom, on the performing stage, or on the court. You will be sorely missed and greatly remembered. We are proud to follow in your footsteps. And now, please welcome to the podium our head of school, Miss Jane McGee.
Members of the Board of Directors, Ms. Pauline Tamasis, parents, faculty, and staff, and most importantly, the class of 2023. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you here today and join with you in celebrating the achievements of this class. Today marks a momentous occasion as we gather here to celebrate culmination of years of hard work, dedication, and perseverance. We stand on the precipice of endless possibilities, armed with knowledge, passion, and the power to shape our own destinies. At least that's what ChatGPT said. A little bit too generic for our graduates in front of you here today. The students in front of me represent 20 different nationalities, have attended UNIS Hanoi from 1 year to 15 years, speak more than 20 different languages, and next year, by either pursuing post-secondary education or an internship or taking a gap year, will move to countries around the world. These are their differences. But today is about the class of 2023 collectively. Today, all of you will graduate and receive your high school diploma, a diploma which tells the world that you have met the academic requirements of our school and have the knowledge, skills, and understandings necessary to transition successfully beyond this school. That is a message you carry forward in much the same way as all the alumni graduates before you. But what truly defines a UNIS Hanoi graduate, or more specifically, this group of students? Over the past few days, as I read the stories of some of you on Facebook, I thought about the fact that you were uniquely you, but simultaneously uniquely UNIS. The stories of the class of 2023 are inspiring, and they showcase their individuality, open-mindedness, the courage to take risks, and an awareness of your own personal responsibility to engage in meaningful ways to give back. Our students speak about their gratitude and a deep sense of appreciation for the experiences they have had at their time here at UNIS and the ways that they have been supported by others and that they've been allowed and also encouraged to pursue their interests and passions, turning dreams into reality. Finally, they spoke about their commitment to changing the world. You've ensured that we are proud of each and every achievement of all of you as individuals, but also proud to be part of a community. I am proud of your stories. But there is more to the story of the class of 2023. As all of you know from our English teachers and your English classes, each story has a setting, anchoring you in time and place. This story for me is about UNIS Hanoi and the city of Hanoi. This setting has its own unique language. APAC, MRISA, AQI is unhealthy, Felix, MUN, TOK, UN Day, heat index above 45 degrees, SDGs, of course, Buncha, UN Day, and of course, we cannot forget for this class, F0, F1, lockdown, distance learning, and the infamous mute button. This setting, unique to the class of 2023, will forever connect you to your peers, your teachers, and the community around you today. It is what makes you a phoenix forever. Today, I encourage you, our graduates, to take a moment to reflect on your story and what you have learned from the unique setting of the past few years. I encourage you to look around at your families, your teachers, and your friends, and to consider the impact they've had on who you are and who you will be in the future. Today, we are giving you a diploma, but truly understanding what you have learned and what you will do with this and choose to do with this is up to you. We are proud to have been part of your journey and a part of your story. On behalf of the faculty and staff at UNIS Hanoi, I wish you the very best as you leave us. And as ChatGPT would say, congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, Ms. McGee, for your tribute to the class of 2023. Our next speaker today is Ms. Pauline Tamises. Ms. Tamises has 20 years of experience in senior leadership, driving transformational change for sustainable development. She assumed her new position as UN Resident Coordinator in the Socialist Republic of Vietnam on June 18, 2022. We are delighted she can be with us today. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Tamises.
Hello, Xin Chao, good afternoon. This is such a special occasion addressing the UN International School Hanoi Class of 2023. Thank you for this privilege. The future is now, and as we heard from the head of school, ChatGPT could have written the speech that I'm about to deliver. Maybe AI would have written a better speech, but I did it the analog way. I talked to some of you about what would be meaningful to hear from a representative of the UN at your graduation. I came away wishing that I could have talked to so many more of you. In all the conversations, I came away so inspired by how thoughtful and unique each individual was. Every single one appreciated the education received from UNIS, the highly supportive faculty, the nurturing learning environment, and the passion underlying all that you do to be agents of change for a better world. All were relieved that exams were over and the IB program conquered. Clap if you agree. What's next? Excitement and anxiety. Excited about the possibilities that the future holds. Anxiety about navigating uncertainty, about charting a yet unknown path of college life. Also, a tinge of worry about being able to push beyond one's comfort zone, how you will manage your life on your own, away from home. You are at the cusp of exerting your independence. You will soon be balancing the freedom to live your life the way you see it with purpose and responsibilities that you wish to take on for yourself. Growing up to your full potential, that is what's next. Stepping out into a world that has changed, a world that is more volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. You know this well. You lived through the COVID pandemic. You adapted the way you learned, the way in which you interacted with each other, and more importantly, how you coped with change. It isn't easy. It still isn't easy. I often hear with great admiration how much your generation has been lauded for your resilience. You were already pushed out of your comfort zone way earlier than expected. As you transition from high school to college, as you face many of life's challenges and changes, you have already proven to yourself that you can overcome adversity. So what I offer you now is only a reminder. When navigating uncertainty, 3 things to remember. First, your values are your anchor. Second, you forge your own path. Third, you grow when you make mistakes. You were all taught the 6 UNIS values of curiosity, community, integrity, courage, diversity, and responsibility. Embrace these values even after stepping out of UNIS's walls. If nothing else, your values will help you find your people. They, in turn, will anchor you. These same values will ground you in a world that is rapidly changing. As you forge your own path, no matter how difficult the circumstances are, let your values be your compass. Stay curious, expand your horizons, engage with others who don't hold the same beliefs as you do. Ask questions. Don't take no for an answer. Know that there is a lot that you don't know. In this way, you can reduce your blind spots and figure out what is important to you. Have the courage to live the life you believe. And because I speak on behalf of the UN, stand up for human rights. Our collective hope is that the path you choose will be for humanity and the planet's greater good. No pressure. You're not expected to be perfect. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. We, the generation before you, made a lot of mistakes. Learn from ours and from yours. Make your choices count. We live in a highly interconnected world. Our choices have consequences, not only for ourselves, but for future generations. You all know this very well. There are many different paths to be agents of change for a better world. You forge your own unique path. And so I end with a personal note, a true sign that this speech was not written by ChatGPT. As you step out in this new world that awaits you, I make a plea to you as a mom who just survived her first year of an empty nest. Do not forget to call your mom. Set a schedule, check in on a regular basis, share with her and your dad the life that you are shaping as a responsible global citizen, or not. These transitions are equally difficult for your parents to let you go as it is for you to find your feet. Their reassurance is that you will be grounded by the values that have led you to where you are now and where you need to be, ready to embrace new beginnings. After that is all said and done today, this is all you need to be, ready. Congratulations, UNIS Class of 2023.
Thank you, Ms. Tamisis, for inspiring our graduates and our community today, celebrating our unique connection to the United Nations. Now for a musical performance to our class of 2023 from our wonderful chamber orchestra and choir, who will perform a piece aptly named Heroes and Dreamers.
Thank you to our musicians for that uplifting performance. Next, we will be hearing from the graduating class themselves. Please welcome up our student speakers, Hee-Dong Cho and Carmen Cortizas, who jumped straight out of IB exams into speech writing to bring this perspective on the behalf of their classmates today.
Good afternoon, graduating students, families, teachers, board members, and distinguished guests. It is an honor for myself, Hee-Dong,
And I, Carmen.
to have been chosen by the student body to speak to you on this very special occasion.
Today, we'd like to take a moment to celebrate us, the class of 2023, for finally crossing the finish line.
It is not an exaggeration to say that the last 2 years have been the craziest years of our lives. In the beginning, we had COVID-19, and then distance learning. Stuck at home for months, some of us used our time productively, while others couldn't resist binge watching anime until 3 a.m. Some started working out seriously, but I wonder whether we might have created too many Hulks for the next Marvel movie. Entering online classes early in the morning, we all had those "I just woke up" moments shown by our exploded hair, or "Hey, I'm eating right now," indicated by our heads that kept bobbing up and down on the screen. And of course, we'd all played the game of who's going to join the call first, trying at all costs to avoid making small talk with our teachers. We all had become, in one way or another, extremely antisocial. Post-distance learning, back to school we came, only to be greeted by an unprecedented number of DP alerts, EE alerts, CAS alerts, tardy alerts, alerts about alerts, on top of being chased by the teachers for skipping academic prep. But smart we were. We had learned that sticks and stones may break our bones, but alerts, they would never hurt us. But what did hurt was when the teachers slapped us with our predicted grades. As the physics students often exclaimed, "You're a god if you get a 6." Or even more unfortunate, the visual arts students, "A 3 again?" Yet, despite all these difficulties, there have been great joy and fun in becoming seniors. I mean, the first thing we did was taking over the Commons room. It became our hideout, our ecosystem. To the unwanted intruders, we gave them a bombastic side-eye. But soon realized these youngsters just have no fear of us. And of course, there's the historic couch incident. Personally, one of my favorite memories comes from this year's camp. We expected it to be something like swimming in the beach, drinking non-alcoholic cocktails, spending the night beside a campfire. Instead, like a Minecraft game, we were given shovels, carts, and some basic materials to work with: cement, bricks, or rocks. And in the Maicho fields, we cried and craved for home comforts. But luckily, the Korean community had brought with them ample supplies of late-night snacks. Ooh. A special shout out to Dohan for the electric ramen cooking pot. On the last day, though, at around 12 a.m., the long days of labor had finally brought out the most primal sides of us. I witnessed a wrestling match I should never forget. It's a battle between two beasts, Kiet the boxer and Aryan the gym bro. The battle was intense. The bamboo house shook, and everyone around seemed to be shouting, "Yeah!" Well, Shortly after, Mr. A sprinted to our room and demanded an apology letter from every one of us by the next morning. Sorry, Mr. A. Well, last Saturday, we celebrated a wonderful prom together, just after finishing our IB exams. And yesterday evening, we had graduation dinner. These were moments of our reunion for us all, given the fact that we've gone through years of thick and thin together. I guess, as we come near to the end, we reflect on what mattered to us the most. And to me, it was all of you guys. And to many of us, it's probably you, Jaden. Concluding, if there was something our years at UNIS Hanoi have taught us, it would be that it is the people that make UNIS truly special. You can talk about the vision, the mission, the program, but the ones who are making those ideals a reality at UNIS Hanoi are the faculty who've taught us daily, the school leadership and board of directors, but also everyone working behind the scenes, our security guards, cleaners, and cooks. And we want to give our special thanks to our parents for giving us this educational opportunity. You've sacrificed a lot. It was not only your restless nights that have allowed us to continue our education here. It was your time, energy, and attention, everything really, all coming from your unconditional love for us that have made us into the young adults we are today. A heartfelt thanks to you all.
Thank you, Hidong. When asked to describe our 2023 class, one word that came up again and again was fragmented. In other words, it seems we are a grade that sometimes struggles to come together, as we simply possess such different dispositions, interests, and views on the world. For this reason, I am reminded of stained glass windows. From afar, these windows form a cohesive image. Yet when looked at up close, one realizes that the image is made up of many individual glass pieces. Although it has elements of overlap in color and design, as does our grade with our classes and our interests, it is the individuality of each piece that creates this multidimensional and dynamic work of art. This fragmentation is only natural, as these 2 years have been a truly challenging experience for all of us, in which we have evolved with the changes that have occurred in our lives, both in and outside of school. As we've grown, we've inevitably drifted apart, drifted back together, and perhaps drifted towards people we would have never imagined. In this window that reflects our high school experience, each and every one of us occupies a space, a fragment. Yet we are often so caught up in our individual journeys that we do not step back and look at what we have formed together, what we are a part of. Because when the early morning light arrives, it pierces not through one part of the glass, but through the image in its entirety, revealing its wholeness. In the end, I think we've all realized that the small details are in fact small, that we can hold on to what we want, but we can also let go of the things that no longer serve us, with a sense of grace and peace. In another sense, we are like the stained glass window with how the demands of high school have fragmented our time and our attention. Balance is a term that has been consistently ingrained in us as students, an idea that sometimes feels like yet another expectation placed on us as we try to navigate each day. I remember when I was small and I would get stressed, my father would always calmly repeat the phrase, "Hay tiempo para todo," meaning there is time for everything. These past 2 years, it certainly hasn't always felt that way. There have been days where you only had time to write your essay due at midnight, and you forgot to say goodnight to your parents. Days when the family gathering took a little too long, and you didn't have time to do your homework. Days where you felt so exhausted after your training or rehearsal that you went straight to bed after you got home. There will always be days like this. No one has time every single day to exercise, to study, to do co-curriculars, to be a good son or a daughter, a good sibling, and a good friend, all while taking care of yourselves. But at the end of each week, each month, and especially at the end of these 4 years, hopefully, on reflection, you feel how all the small fragments really do add up to a form of balance. and that in the long run, you will end up finding time for everything. The abstract fragmentation that exists within our collective grade, as well as our individual selves, shows us that more than anything, today is a day to step back from the tiny details of our high school experience and to look at the image as a whole, to feel proud of those around us, and most of all, to feel proud of ourselves.
After this ceremony, as we walk out of this auditorium, in each step, think about all that we will miss.
We will miss our parents for always being there,
Our teachers for always keeping us in check.
and our friends for always trying to make us laugh on our toughest days.
And lastly, Hanoi. For some of us, it's our host country. For some, it's where we grew up. And for others, it's where we were born.
But for many of us, I think, in some form or another, Hanoi will always be home when we feel homesick, a place we will always remember for its unconditional passion, kindness, and joy.
And with that, we'll say, Tambiet.
Thank you, Hidong and Carmen. It is a difficult task to speak on behalf of 77 unique individuals, but your classmates' faith in you was truly well merited. Congratulations. And now, please welcome Mr. Stefan Anagnos, the faculty speaker selected by this year's graduating class.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry, good afternoon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On the reverse of your program, if you have a look, it says, to reap a return in 10 years, plant trees. To reap a return in 100 years, cultivate the people. Those aren't my words, those are the words of Ho Chi Minh, and it's worthwhile for us to think about those words as this day progresses. You ready? Good. So, United Nations Resident Coordinator Temesis, the UNIS Board of Directors, especially Ms. Din Jones, thank you. UNIS Board of Directors, UNIS Director Ms. McGee, thank you. Dr. Lepard, fellow UNIS staff and faculty, parents, family, and friends of the class of 2023, distinguished guests, and our class of 2023. Dear friends, it is a humbling honor and privilege to share the stage with our class of 2023, as I think we all agree. We have a special bond. We both entered UNIS High School 4 years ago in August of 2019. We felt COVID at the same time, went through the same lockdowns, returns to school, deeper lockdowns, online learning, as Hidong previously pointed out, and thank you for doing so. Unlike previous cohorts, and despite the fact that this graduating cohort missed more in-class instructional time than any other, there were no IB modifications to our class of 2023. This is the class that probably deserved them the most. So I would appreciate it if you could join me and muster some energy on this afternoon, because I think it's time to recognize what the class of 2023 has persevered to be here today. Clapping and cheering are definitely in order. Great. The universe offers us a series of laws or principles that we should follow, but they are not iron in the sense of binding or like the iron law of wages, the iron law of oligarchy, but iron in the sense that they are steady, they are strong, and they are useful. They are reliable, and they make some sort of intuitive sense. One of those laws is that children should live past and beyond the lives of their parents. But that law has a serious flaw that many of us here are all too familiar with. So, I would like here and now, this sacred space, at this sacred moment, in this sacred event, to demand that the universe consider to amend that law to include the following. All those who have love for a child on this stage should have the right to be present at this, their high school graduation. Until the universe amends that law, let's take a moment now to think very hard and extremely carefully about those who are not here in this physical space, but whom we wish could be here. I am speaking about those who can access us online, but I'm speaking beyond that. And yet, these people are here in spirit and in our souls. Please take a moment. Great. Thank you, dear friends. Now look into the eyes of those who are able to be here to witness this magnificent moment together and cherish that. I told you guys this was going to get a little bit dark, but you get what you pay for. My discussion today is rooted in what UN Resident Coordinator Tamesis referred to as that bond, that bridge between adolescence and adulthood, what Director McGee sees as the courage needed to inspire, to reflect, to impact. It's rooted also, coincidentally enough, in Hidong's notion of personal responsibility in building community, and, coincidentally enough, what we do with those shattered pieces that Carmen described. My sense is that the discussion has to do with what it takes to be part of something much larger than oneself. But as I was thinking about this, I realized that this discussion is actually more of a request. No, it's more than a request, it's a plea. It's a plea directed at our class of 2023, but it comes from future generations, and one future generation in particular, the class of 2035. You see, in preparing today, I asked my trusted confidant and word consultant, my son Aro, many of you know him, what he would like me to say. And the first thing he said was, "Daddy, what if they're hungry?" And that's a pretty good point. And it got me thinking. So, I have in my possession 2 loaves of bread. Now, the minister of my Unitarian church in Brooklyn growing up, Donald McKinney, would lead a service each year he called the Hunger Service. A little word about Donald, just quickly and briefly. He was born in 1927, the last century. Donald was a social justice warrior even before he graduated high school, served in World War II, and went to Harvard Divinity School. He is one of my 1 degrees of separation from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whom he worked with and marched with in the 1950s and 1960s, just before Dr. King was assassinated. Ooh, thank you. And Malcolm X, who he counted as a friend and fellow New Yorker before Malcolm's murder in 1965. In the 1950s, he was an early advocate for Vietnam's unity and Vietnam's independence. His services were infused with these formative experiences, and he let us know that we were part of this greater struggle, a struggle much greater than ourselves. Donald's hunger service might now seem a little bit like a paternalistic act of entitlement or privilege, and it may have felt that way back then too. But to this 10-year-old boy watching it, it was magical. So we're going to do it here today. Our congregation was 250 strong, and on a good day, Donald could bring in another 100 or so, and that roughly matches where we are at the moment. He began by passing a loaf of bread, just like this one, to the first person in the first pew, just like you. He asked that first person to take a small piece of this loaf. As you take that piece, Think about the 4.5 billion people on our planet. This was 1981. And the over 2 billion people living in or near extreme poverty or under some form of inhumane conditions. Now he would say, pass the loaf to your neighbor. Greet them, meet them, know their name, have a chat. Ask them to take a piece and ask them to think. Make an effort to pass that loaf to someone you do not know. Keep passing that loaf until all members of this great hall have had a chance to take a piece and to think. Everyone takes a piece, he used to say. The size of the piece, it's up to you. Once everyone had taken their piece, hold it up and show me and pass what remains back to me. Not the piece, but the remainder of the loaf. What followed from Donald was a whirlwind of responsibilities and expectations that each member of our community was expected to embody and expected to fulfill. It is what Amanda Gorman later described as to brave the belly of the beast so that catastrophe will not prevail over us. Everyone in the congregation always introduced themselves, chatted if they sat next to someone new, thought hard, took a big piece or a small piece. He always got a small piece back at the end. And each year he would say, "We are proud of you. Now go do something about it." I might not have known it then, but I was certainly becoming part of something significantly bigger than myself. By the way, the first time I attended that service, I took the bread, I ate the bread. I was 10 years old. I didn't know better. Some things have changed since I first saw my first hunger service. The planet is now 8 billion strong, and yet by even the most conservative and relative of absolute measurements, over 1 billion of us live under those same conditions that Donald asked us to do something about 42 years ago. Aro was right to ask this question. It made total sense to me. So, I have these loaves of bread, and I'm going to pass one to you, and I'm going to pass one to you. You're going to take a piece, and you're going to think hard and greet and pass it to the next person, and they're going to take a piece until this entire loaf of bread touches the soul of everyone in this sacred room at this sacred moment. If you're sitting next to someone who's not in your own family, take also a moment to learn their name. And before you start, have a look around this space to see the numbers. We're not looking at 8 billion, but here we're just more than one row of people. And please really keep your eyes open because this room has lots of people in it. Everyone has to take a piece. Good. In the meantime, you guys get chocolate. Good. I hope you guys have had a chance to read The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. I tried to find it in the library. All of our copies are out. It's awesome. In essence, it is the parable of weak sustainability, a vision of the world as a linear system, a series of resources unquestionably wanting to and needing to be exploited. Rampant economic development took its toll, and what was left of this world that Seuss created was soot, ash, pollution, despair. Depleted of life, depleted of color, depleted of joy. A child comes along, asks some questions, finds out that a creature called the Lorax predicted this very outcome and left behind a cryptic message, unless someone cares. Now, if that sounds like a great bedtime story, give it a try. If you have not read it together with a 78-month-year-old or a 6.5-year-old, then please add that to your bucket list. Don't get me wrong, Aro loved the barbaloots throwing fruits, and the floppy wings of the swomy swans, and the splish-splashing of the humming fish. He loved it all. But as things began to grow dark, Arrow asked, "Why are the humming fish leaving the glumping pond to go on land? They are going to die." And of course he follows up with, "Why does no one care?" The Lorax recently celebrated its 50-year anniversary in 2021. The same year our UN published the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, Climate Change 2021, The Physical Science Basis, telling us in exquisite detail the dire consequences of human-induced climate change that Dr. Seuss wrote about in 1971. Now that is a great bedtime story. My plea to the class of 2023, as you enjoy your chocolate, make sure Arrow and the class of 2035 know that you are part of something much larger than yourselves and that you care. For my high school graduation, Donald gave me this copy, an earlier copy, of Dag Hammarskjöld's markings. You guys may have seen it in the classroom. Hammarskjöld was the second UN Secretary General, and markings contained his thoughts and musings from 1925 to 1961. The last entry was just weeks before he was killed in a plane crash on his way to negotiate a ceasefire, of all things, in the Congo. His last entry reads in part, Arnav, you recognize this? Okay. Sleepless questions in the small hours. Have I done right? Why did I act just as I did? Over and over again. The same steps, the same words, never the answer. Now, my plea, understand that you are part of something larger than yourselves, and you are strong enough to take different steps and use different words. That you are strong enough to care. Wonderful. Dear friends, I've come to the end of our discussion. So just one quick note to our parents and our families here today, and also with us online. My favorite activity each day, the one that gives me energy and feeds my soul, the one that makes me feel connected to something much, much larger than myself, is my walk through our theater building. I do it every morning with my son to listen to the orchestra, or choir, or to gaze and discuss the art that's on display, or simply to walk and talk. He's a brilliant guy. And it is nearly impossible for me to say goodbye. Now, he's just about to finish kindergarten. Congratulations. And we have 13 of these walks left this year. But with 12 years of schooling ahead of him, each with about 180 school days, I can look forward to 2,160 more of these walks. I know, knowing the class of 2023 and their parents and families and the love you have for each other, that goodbye number, 2160, will be the hardest. Dear friends, the class of 2023 has only a handful of these walks left with you as they are. In fact, today is the last official walk. Excuse me. So be ready to please sustain this goodbye, this last goodbye at this moment, with the tightest of hugs and words of love. Today is a beautiful occasion, so I will leave you with the inspiring words once again of Miss Gorman, that there is always light if we are brave enough to see it, if only we are brave enough to be it. Class of 2023, for the sake of my son and the class of 2035, you must be that light. That is my absolute plea as I look into each of your eyes right now. You must be that light. There is no other option. Dear friends, I would like to yield my time, my copy of Hammarskjöld's markings, and my son's future to our class of 2023. Clapping is certainly in order for these guys. Oh, by the way, where are we with the loaves? Where's the bread? Who's got it? Does everyone have a piece? Almost? Keep it going. Keep it going. We are proud of you. Now please go do something about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. A, for your inspiring words on the commencements of the graduates' new journeys. And now, we are among the moment that we have all been waiting for 15 years, the awarding of your high school diplomas. But first, a few words from our secondary principal, Dr. Leopard.
Class of 23, I know you're ready to receive your diplomas, but I couldn't let this last opportunity to address you go without sharing a few words. Audience, I will aim to be somewhat brief and as engaging. These are hard acts to follow, our students. So first, allow me to extend my own personal welcome to parents, to colleagues, to our esteemed board members and distinguished guests. Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank you, parents, for having entrusted us with the education of your children, an education characterized by strong academic values and strong personal values that underpin our aspirations to academic excellence. To the class of 2023 beside me, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. Reviewing your next chosen steps, I'm impressed with your diversity. Perhaps this is the fragmentation of which Carmen made mention. Your interests vary from law to mechanical engineering, from jazz piano to marketing, from genetics to maths, and from international relations to theater. And you've chosen diverse countries to which to matriculate. Some of you heading to North America, others to Europe, to East Asia, and others to the Antipodes. You leave UNIS well prepared for the challenges and the rewards ahead. And you leave perhaps as one of our strongest classes. Strongest and most independent, perhaps, because of the nature of your high school career. Your class has, as you've acknowledged, experienced challenges that you have met and conquered. And just because I really like the title of this book, I'm going to quote from Kishimi and Koga, the authors whose book is entitled, in English, The Courage to be Disliked. In it, the authors write, quote, "No matter what has occurred in your life up to this point, it should have no bearing at all in how you live from now on. That you, living in the here and now, are the one who determines your own life." End quote. And today, it's a time to look forward and to anticipate your futures. For you, the class of 2023, you're part of a complex world and a complex future, and one that features challenges both old and new. That includes climate change, mental health, and the rise of artificial intelligence, to which many of us have alluded today. And yet, I remain convinced that you are ready not only to navigate this complex world, and that you are going to be ready to be leaders and change makers in ways both subtle and overt, because you've embraced our values, three of which I'd like to highlight today: your courage, your curiosity, and your value of community. I made mention last year to a class that contemplating the future is no doubt a little bit anxiety-evoking. Most of you will experience a great deal of change in the very near future. In their book, The Power of Moments, the authors note that when people rank the 10 most important events in their lives, from leaving home to going to college, to falling in love, to getting married and finding a job, 6 out of 10 of these events happen between the ages of 15 and 30. This is you. And all of these challenges also represent opportunity if you stay open to those possibilities and approach them with courage. I invite you to reframe any anxiety you might be feeling about these changes as an excitement. Your belief in yourself shapes your health and well-being in profound ways. And if you think you have not navigated this kind of change before, I will point out that the year that most of you entered school was the introduction of the first iPad. It was the beginning of Instagram, and the prominent trends included Angry Birds and skinny jeans. It was also the height of Justin Bieber's career. Clearly, change happens, and you've navigated it. As you pursue your chosen paths, I invite you to stay curious, to try new things, and to take reasonable risks. Do things that make you uncomfortable, and I'm confident that you, as a group, are wonderfully prepared to make good decisions and to profit even from the failures that will inevitably follow. This will be tough at times, and I'll invite you to remember what Sandra Boardman writes in Everyday Vitality. Quote, "Stress, frustration, and disappointment are inevitable unless you construct a life so safe and sealed off from reality that you live in a bubble. And the thing about trying to live in a bubble is, we know bubbles burst. So try new things, pick yourself up, dust yourselves off, reflect and learn from those experiences, and move forward. The world is changing quickly, and I invite you to navigate this by remembering our value of community and the connection that's inherent in, of caring within community, caring for yourselves and caring for others. In the end, it's about emotional intelligence. As you leave high school, many of you remember the pressure that you felt to be good academically. And yes, we want you to do the best you can, but I'm also confident that your parents and I share one ultimate goal: your happiness. And happiness is wrapped up in your relationships with people. So that is, while we all collectively tend to worry about the next generation and whether they'll be good at maths or whether they'll attain well academically, we sometimes forget to worry about whether or not you'll be kind or whether you'll be good at marriage. To paraphrase the brilliant Alain de Botton, he claims, "The emotionally intelligent person knows that love is a skill and not a feeling, and that will require trust, vulnerability, humor, and selective resignation." You'll need to recognize that no one is perfect, including yourselves. This thinking guides our value of community. As the famous entrepreneur Danny Meyer writes, he hires 49% for technical skills and 51% for emotional skills. And 23, you have the dispositions, the skills, and the ability to make the world a better in whatever corner you chose to inhabit, in small ways and in large. Do so by having the courage to act on your convictions, by being curious and continuing to learn about yourself and the world and those we share it with. And keep in mind that you come from a UN school. As such, the world is our community. So act with kindness and offer respect, even to those whom you meet who may not yet merit it. A big part of being kind is remembering to express gratitude. You have worked incredibly hard, and you've had the support of amazing people along the way. And I hope today that you'll remember to express your gratitude to your teachers, to your friends, and of course, to your parents who have made this afternoon possible. Don't leave that expression of gratitude up to Hidong on behalf of the whole class, but make sure you do it individually. Graduating seniors, leave us knowing, as Ed Sheeran asserts in his most recent songs, the waves won't break your boat. You are strong, you are ready, and thank you for making us all at UNIS here so proud of your accomplishments to date and the accomplishments to come. Now you get your diplomas. Thank you for listening. I'm pleased to invite our head of school, Ms. Jane McGee, and the chair of our board of directors, Ms. Michelle Ding-Jones, and our Homebush mentors, who will award the diplomas. I invite the first of our grade 12 mentors, Ms. Gubbles and Mr. Chaga, to begin the official presentation.
Amelia Lisa McAleese. Mimi plans to take a gap year and build her art portfolio. Carmen Fontan Cortizas. Carmen intends to study history of art in London. Jiwon Han. Jiwon plans to study Korean language and literature in Korea. Matthew Isaac Wood. Matthew intends to study theatre in Australia. Bin Nguyen Bui. Tony will study computer science in Australia. Riansh Malik. Riansh plans to study commerce in Australia. Sneha Paul. Sneha is exploring her options. Tan An Nguyen. Tan An will study computer science in the United States. Tristan Liam Hagen. Tristan is undecided. He will be studying in the United States. Viet Lin To. Viet Lin will study theater in the United States.
Abigail Edith Gusi. Abby intends to study psychology in the UK. Hee-Don Cho. Hee-Don will take a gap year to pursue his own educational path. Duan Mi Kim. Kim will study public health and policy in the United States. Nguyen Minh Hoan Chung. Tyson intends to study economics in Boston. Nam van der Wielen. Nam will study hospitality management in the Netherlands. Phu Nam An Nguyen. An will be considering all his options. Sun Hun Lee. Sun Hun will study architecture in the United States. Tae Chan Lee. Tae Chan will study business and marketing in the US. And finally, Son Jung Woo. Jungwoo will be receiving his diploma in absentia. And now I invite Mr. Dure and Mr. Agnagnos to the stage.
Anisha Neera Ratnam. Anisha plans to study law in the UK. Aryan Kumar Behera. Aryan intends to study genetics in the UK. Tang Duc Nguyen. Duc Tang intends to study economics and finance in the United States. Heian Yun. Heian will study biology in the United States. Malia Ashley Silver. Malia intends to study psychology in Canada. Nok Hui Nguyen. Nok intends to study commerce in Canada. Omer Sagi. Omer plans to take a gap year and do volunteer work with minority groups in Israel. Rory Stracy Hamilton. Rory plans to study exercise psychology in the UK. Taya Emil Yosef Promisberger. Taya is going to the University of Amsterdam.
Dario Abbiati. Dario plans to study economics in Italy. Duc Hua Lei. Duc will be studying history in the United States. Hari Zhang. Oh, sorry. Hari Zhang. Hari will study in Korea. Ming Tu Ngo. Tu intends to take a gap year to study Japanese. Oscar Miller Stenman. Oscar plans to study international relations in the United Kingdom. Go Kalalang Philippa Elizabeth N. Chi. Philippa intends to pursue communication studies in Singapore. Sean Jungwoo Wee Lee. Sean intends to study in the United States. Chang Ling Nguyen. Chang plans to do a double major in chemistry and anthropology in the United States. and Swan Zhu Nguyen. Absolutely. Zhu intends on studying psychology in Canada or in the UK. Congratulations, Zhu. We have the honor and privilege to ask Ms. Donna Froze and Jesse Bradley to join us here on the stage. Thank you.
Bao Tin Duan. Bao will study psychology after taking a gap year. Zong Min Xiong. Zong Min intends to study jazz piano at the National Academy of Music in Vietnam. Iris Anna Laurel van der Velden. Iris plans to take a gap year and work on her art portfolio. Jinha Oh. Jinha intends to study biological sciences in Korea. Kiet Nguyen. Kiet intends to study economics in Boston. Kimberly Rocio Enriquez Caldareo. Kimberly plans to study marketing in the United States. Mark Presserjing. Mark intends to study mechanical engineering in the United States. Minji Yoon. Minji plans to study chemistry in Korea. Natsuki Mori. Natsuki intends to study liberal arts in the United Kingdom. Quang Kai Richard Pham. Richard will study economics in Australia.
Ding Hugh Vuong. Hugh will be attending university in California. Dongyu Kim. Dongyu intends to study energy in Korea. Vu Duc Za Hung. Hung intends to study math in Florida. Harsh Shrivastava. Harsh intends to study computer science in Canada. Huang Yen Dao. Yen will study international economics in Canada. Christian Mizuno Morera. Christian intends to study computer science in the United States. Maiha Mina Bullard. Mally will take a gap year before studying international affairs. Min Young An. Min Young intends to study engineering in Korea. Prasanna Rani Maharajan. Prasanna will study business and economics in Canada. Yeon Kyung Jenny Kim. Jenny plans to study social sciences in Korea. Now I would like to invite Ms. Bouchard and Mr. Grania.
Alaric Christian Lavigot Müller. Alaric plans to study engineering in Denmark. Carolina Badi. Carolina will study foreign languages and literature in Italy. Cedric Antonius Petrus Vrombouts. Cedric will study economics and business economics in the Netherlands. Cheyoung Christina Park. Cheyoung plans to study science in Hong Kong. Hai Cho Nguyen. Cho will study computer science in the UK. Doi Kim. Doi intends to study life science in Korea. Isabella Kate Brazil. Isabella intends to study psychology and law in Australia. Isabella Claire de Volder. Isabel intends to study art history in London. Mao Yuan Tang Nguyen. Mia plans to study political science in the United States. Mihir Mahanan Shelk. Mihir intends on studying computer science in Australia. Cheng Ming Pham. Cheng will be studying medicine in Australia.
Arnav Mathur. Arnav will study international business administration in the Netherlands. Dohum Kim. Dohum intends to study engineering in Korea. Hoyeon Yoon. Hoyeon will be studying gender studies in the United States. Madalena Dagnano. Maddie plans to take a gap year to travel and becoming financially independent. Misaki Iseri. Misaki will study film and cultural studies in the UK. Rafael Giacomo Enrico Hebels. Rafael will study medicine in the Netherlands. Bak Tak Nguyen. Bak intends to study finance in Canada. Tuk An Bui. Tuk An plans to take a gap year to gain working experience in the field of visual arts. Wilhelmina Dippe. Mina intends to study medicine in Germany.
Ms. Jane McGee, Ms. Michelle Ding-Jones, and the UNIS Hanoi Board of Directors, I do hereby certify that the students of class of 2023 who received a UNIS Hanoi High School diploma today have successfully completed all of the requirements of the UNIS curricular program and are now holders of the UNIS High School diploma, officially recognizing their completion of high school.
Congratulations, class of 2023. And now to underline the awarding of the diplomas and the moment you have all been really waiting for, a rite of passage for all UNIS graduates.
An annual tradition here at UNIS Hanoi is for all graduates to perform Mua Sap, the Vietnamese bamboo dance. Please welcome to the stage our grade 10 colleagues, Melissa Teo, Đạt Nguyen, Phương Anh Đỗ, Khánh Linh Tông, Hùng Vũ, Quang Nhật Vũ, Jenny Lê, and Rosato.
Thank you to the Bamboo Dance Team. And now to close today's celebrations, Dr. Leopard will invite the graduates to rise to prepare to throw their caps, followed by their celebratory recessional.
Following the recessional, parents, faculty, and guests, please join our class of 2023 for our graduation reception in the cafeteria building. Thank you for joining us today, and a final word from Namara and myself.
Congratulations, class of 2023!
With the class of 2023, please rise. Nice. It is with pride and great pleasure that I present the graduates of the class of 2023. On 1, 2, 3.
You can do anything you want with your life. You just have to be willing to work hard to get it. That's when I decided when I die, I want to be remembered for the life I lived, not the money I made.
Once upon a younger year, when all our shadows disappeared, the animals inside came out to play.